So, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 44 of Fables from the Pickled Quipper. Where last we left off, the Hand of Aegis were at Semlin Smith House, purchasing all manner of goods in preparation for a trip out to Drakesburg. While they waited, I should say most of the Hand of Aegis were in Semlin Smith House because, as usual, Eska hates going inside whenever possible, and noticed a slightly suspicious-looking elf walking past a couple of times, but no encounter as of yet. Let's see what happens as we pick up. So, I believe you guys have completed your purchases in the Smith House. Assorted things that can hide you, or the armor and stuff that can be worn underneath clothes, that sort of thing, and a couple of weapons. What would you like to do next?
Let's go to Drakesburg.
Right now.
Yep. To the harbour.
We got an early flight.
End of season 2.
Yeah.
Season 1.
End of season
The
2.
end.
Yes.
Super fast forward. We're all level 15.
Yay!
I mean, we can play it that way, but do you want to? So it is mid-morning on the 28th. Nope.
No,
Sure didn't.
no
Like,
shot
dude,
glass,
they have
nothing.
keychain. They didn't have your name, Simlin. On those little keychains.
They had Simlin and Somlin, but not Semlin.
My son is also named Bort.
Should we have code names when we go over to Drakesburg?
Ooh,
Are our
yes.
names recognizable enough?
I mean,
Well, as we
Silverius
are
is
going-
because he says his every time
Yeah,
he meets anybody.
Because
Maybe, because if there's because people seem to know me in town in this world. So some people in theory, I mean, not that, like, if somebody had traveled over there, then they could potentially, I mean, know Bardor. Living in the area, but I don't really think I'm that big of a deal yet either, so.
I guess we could choose something for you that sounds similar. Now, what sounds a bit like Bardor? I suppose Butter. We could just call you Butter. What about that?
Barn door.
Bardor, yeah. Silverius, perhaps you could go by Silverius?
That's probably the most commonly used word in the entire 44 episodes. Silvarius going,
That's what we'll call them.
Were we gonna run by Cater?
I would say, if anything, potentially we go to the Dried Bunch on the way to that then. To like try and leave it as late as possible to give Ingfrin some chance of actually finishing something. Eska will say to the group as we're standing outside the Smith house, she will say, does anybody have anything in particular they feel like we should do today, or are we just going to take it as a rest day?
I don't have anything in mind.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. Does anyone have anything they would want to do the rest of the day?
I did know that I don't remember who wanted Claire to message Vil just to check on how he was doing. I don't remember who
think
had
I
asked
did.
her to do
I
that.
think so far, yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, at least.
Okay. Do you want to plan that maybe for like the end of the day, like the evening, or do you want to?
Yeah, Solaris understands that should something arise throughout the day, like, not to just expend your powers fully.
Yeah. Well, and I know we also, I think, didn't we discuss doing a message because we didn't want to intrude on him, like, settling in.
Oh, yeah. Might have been that. Sylvaris wouldn't really care though.
True to
That-
form, always.
I guess in response to Eska, like, as far as the rest of the day, I mean, Sylvaris would probably, yeah.
Are we to be concerned about the mysterious elf that was trailing us earlier?
I mean, I think we can be concerned, but after yesterday, I don't feel like chasing shadows again. We already know that people are watching us through various means. I don't know that we actually have anything that exciting for them to find out if they corner us anyway, necessarily.
That might depend on why they were seeking us. I am uncertain, but perhaps should we place enough faith in him, Gethin could be of potential service. He seems to know much that goes on here.
That's true. I guess we could run over and ask him if he recognizes the description, if nothing else.
Can we ask Semlin if they've been in the shop?
Do it, Cassette.
I was just very sensual. I just wasn't sure what you were asking me to do. So I'll walk back in, I guess, to Semlin's and just kind of give... Did I see the elf, though, to give a description? I don't remember.
No, only Eska did.
Oh no.
Okay, so I grab Eska and pull her in the under a roof.
Esker explodes.
Fade to black. End of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
what a
let's ask him if he's seen.
what a lovely establishment you have, sir.
Eska, you are incredibly uncomfortable inside the Smith house. I don't know if you've really been in there very often.
I don't know that I've ever been in there.
It is very reminiscent of Badger Down. There is the intense heat, and as you go in, Semlin is hammering away on something you're not really sure what. But you just feel like the sweat start immediately on your brow and the back of your neck. And it's actually worse in a way because Semlin isn't hammering like on that rhythm that you immediately sort of remember. He's just hammering away at his own pace, and it's just very uncomfortable. Thankfully, he stops when he sort of catches you at the corner of his eye and says, "Back again? That was quick."
Hello, fine sir. I am a companion of this person. I wanted to check with you if you happen to have had a customer. If you'd recognize a description. I'm gonna level with you
Maybe.
here, Phil. I don't remember the description of the person.
Which is stronger, my dislike of going in here, or my memory of this actual event?
There's been so many elves trailing us, I can't keep it together.
This particular elf was fairly tall and lithe, copper skin. Make a history check.
Oh. Natural 20? Apparently my memory is actually very good.
So, they had a hood up, but you got a glimpse of dark hair, sort of like raven-colored hair. Couldn't see the eye color because they were just walking past. Their clothes were mostly muted browns. They had a couple of belts rather than just one. You did see a number of, you recall a number of daggers on one of the belts, and something else on the other side. It was hard to see because of where they were, the angle they were walking at mostly. You only saw the other side. And you think possibly maybe had a broken nose previously. It looked a little misshapen.
I relay this to Semlin. I say, have they ever popped in here?
Not that I can recall. That's a pretty distinctive look. Not a lot of wood elves in these parts.
Probably not many that would come into a smithy either, I'd imagine.
No, as a rule, they would tend to go somewhere else, like what's that place?
The Pickled Quipper.
That's the one. Aye, that's Elfrun, and serves a. I mean, there's a lot of demand for dwarven goods here in this part of town, but not so much elf stuff. But they might know over there, but yeah, it doesn't ring a bell for me.
Well, I thank you for your time. This is a lovely establishment. We should be going, though. Good day, sir.
He gives you a very confused look.
I sprint out the door.
Cassette thinks about blocking the door, but she lets her pass.
Well, no luck in there, everyone. Maybe we should try Gethin.
So when you do come out, I want to insert one little conversation, because I had it in my notes from last session. When you two come out, you see Claire standing with her hands on her hips in front of Silverius, just looking up at him, and you just hear her little squeaky voice going, 400 gold for a chest piece you're gonna wear one day. I know you're a silver dragon, but were you born with a silver spoon in your mouth too?
Nay.
He's got this frustrated look on his face as he's staring down at her. A grumpy curl on his snout.
I am a shard of the Order of the Dawning Sapphire. We equip ourselves with what we need. No expense considered.
Not the direction I thought that conversation would go. Eska, did you drop something in there? We should go back in.
Hang on,
Just
did
do
I...
that, like,
Claire, did I
step and
hear you
turn
say
before their foot lands?
400 gold?
This isn't where I parked my car.
Did you say 400 gold, Claire, that he spent in there?
He was planning on it before Simlin kindly offered to rent a chest plate.
Oh boy, this is why we can't let Silverius go places alone.
Exactly. Silverius, I understand that you have certain standards, but this is everyone's money that you're buying things with, and we don't have a lot, and we've got a budget. You can't just frivolously spend 400 gold on a chest plate for one day.
And I definitely wouldn't have just handed him that 400 gold without asking, without questioning that decision at all. So
So far, he kind of says through his teeth. He's like,
Armor rental has never really been an option. But perhaps something more considered in the future.
Perhaps more considered in the future too would be talking to your teammates before making any purchases like that.
And maybe Silvarius, if you want at some point, I can give you some pointers in unarmored combat, if it would help. If you're worried about such things.
he kind of snaps a little bit. He's just like,
And I do not need your...
The
He
freedom
cuts
of
himself off.
movement, the freedom of movement is delightful.
Bar doors, this is going on. You notice the guards who are usually posted up outside the Nagra gatehouse, like one either side of the door that's not too far away from the statue of Moradin where you guys are having this conversation. You see the guards have sort of lightly abandoned their posts and have shimmied down towards the end of the building. Clearly trying not to make it obvious, but they're definitely listening in. And there's some smirks going on as they watch this little dwarf berating this huge dragonborn.
See. I'm just gonna note it and just stand and watch myself, basically.
Fair enough. Eska, you're probably facing the right way to have caught that too, actually.
I'm enjoying it. I smile over at them and kind of point.
They tried to act like they weren't obviously just listening in.
during the argument, as like when Claire's saying stuff to him, every now and then Silvarius's eyes kind of like he's got a lock on her, but when she gets like super fussy with him, they kind of like look away a little bit, and then he like refocuses back on her. Kind of like being similar to being scolded by a superior, but he's still like just trying to like I'll just say stubborn because I can't think of words right now.
Yeah, so that, I mean, Claire's 4'2", but she looked about 6'2" there. She's yelling at Silvarius. Eventually, it looks like the entertainment has ended, and the guards sort of shuffle back to their position.
Yeah, she quickly the wind kind of gets blown out of her sails very quickly. It's kind of she gets it all out of her system and she just looks like she deflates. And her face is definitely beet red by the time she's done. And she's just staring up at him, and he would see her just kind of like visibly shrink a little bit. And then her hands would drop from her hips and she would just kind of lose that defensive posture. And her everything about her would just soften. And yeah, she would just say, Silvarius, I understand all this is new for you, but you have to remember that we're all in this together, and you need to check in with us every now and then.
And he kind of looks to the side a little bit, and then his eyes look back at her, and his face kind of softens a little bit as well. And he just lets out,
Noted. Claire.
Well, should we go pop in and check in with Gethin? Anybody?
Varus jumps on that.
I...
Claire lets out a huge breath, and you see her bangs just like flutter over her face.
All right, so you head west towards the well, and then nope, that's east. You head east towards the well, and then take a turn, and you can quickly see sitting outside, as is often the way, Gethin just chilling. He has a large owl currently perched on his knee. It's just sort of looking at him, and they seem to be having some sort of quiet conversation as you approach. The owl's body is facing Gethin, but as you sort of jangle towards him, the owl's head turns right around and just glares at you and gives a soft "woo."
Eska makes the same noise back with Druidcraft.
And Gethin looks over as well and says, "Oh, hello, friends. And how are we?"
Good morning. How's it going?
Very well, very well. What brings you here today?
We wanted to check if you had noticed something.
Probably.
Or someone. We feel like we've been maybe we're paranoid, but followed somewhat or watched. By what appears to be a wood elf. Broken nose, lithe, double belted, daggers at the belt, hooded, raven coloured hair, plain clothes.
You see him sort of scratch his chin a bit, and then he sort of pauses for a second, and then his eyes just go white, and he stops moving temporarily. And there's just a pause.
Is this alarming, or do we recognize this as a thing? Does Silverius do this?
To what Silverius has done?
It would probably look similar, yeah.
Okay. Because outside of that, I feel like you'd assume that they were in big trouble.
He pops back after just 15 seconds or so. I mean, I haven't personally noted anyone matching that description, but I have heard tell of someone along those lines walking through here recently, yes.
Not someone you've encountered before, though.
No, I don't believe that they're from around here.
Interesting.
I know, or at least have a pretty good idea of the local elves. And they're not one of them. Much like yourself.
Yes. You don't see many moon elves around, do you?
Very few. And as you start to leave, you see the Chult Falcon, previously identified as Rauri, sort of fly low past you and land up in a tree on the north side, like the other side of the well. And that's sort of, it's not really a square, but, at best it's a triangle. But yeah. And Gethin just sort of gives you a little nod and lets you be on your way.
Out of curiosity, I look back at Gethin and shrug slightly, and then look back to the falcon and hold up my arm in a falconer's inviting position, just to see.
Make an animal handling check.
I've just set mine to 20s all the way. That's a natural 20 for 21.
The bird is sort of staring at you for a second and then cocks its head and then just drops out of the tree and glides over to you. Barely a single flap until it has to sort of break to land, basically, and lands on your wrist.
I just keep it held at a respectful distance and fish about for the last little, chipmunk paw that I left, and pull it out of my bag and offer it up.
As you bring it back up, you see. So this falcon is. What would it be about? I'd say about 15 inches tall. And it is just staring at you right between the eyes. And it is incredibly hard to shake the idea that you're just one big meal. You've hunted plenty. You know what it feels like to be a hunter and to be sort of like the dominant species. But even you have never felt the confidence that this falcon is exuding as it stares at you.
Mm-hmm.
This creature knows it is absolutely at the top of the food chain. And it's just boring a hole in you right now. But as you bring out the little pocket chipmunk, you see like there's just a brief flick of the head around to look at it, and it's now following your hand with interest.
Okay, because I don't want this to linger too much, I'm going to whip it up back towards, in the general direction of where it was perched before.
You barely even feel it as it takes off. There's just a little bit of pressure and the disturbance of wind, and it's gone. It actually rolls upside down, catches, like sort of facing the sky, flips back over and goes and lands in the tree and starts jumping.
I just give it a polite nod and turn and carry on.
You hear a soft chuckle from behind you. So where to next? It's
that was impressive.
What the falcon did, or the fact that me and Phil are slowly getting birds more and more into this podcast?
It was, yeah.
it's about lunchtime, if that helps.
Oh yeah, I kind of started walking away, but I had no direction. I figured we needed to walk away before we discussed where we were going next.
I'm actually I'll pipe up and say, well, we're pretty close to the respite here, and honestly, if there's not much pressing, I'm just gonna go back and hang out.
That seems reasonable. It doesn't sound like we have any big plans, Bardur.
I just nod, and you see a bit of a grin as you hear him whisper under his breath, and he goes, "Day drinking."
So yeah, Savaris, as Barter says that, Savaris just says to the group,
I'm going to take a walk.
and he just turns and starts walking down the paved road for now.
Okay. Which way you headed?
Back, just kind of back down towards like Simlin's way.
Okay.
No particular direction to begin with.
If nobody needs me for a little bit, I might get a little bit of time. I might just head to the tree line outside town and sit up a tree for a while and enjoy the the atmosphere. I'll meet you back here dinner time. I mean, unless anybody else wants to spend the afternoon that way, in which case I'm happy for the company. But I just want to get that little bit of. I'm still recovering from Badger Down. I need the sky, the trees.
That's just talking to herself as everybody's walked away to do their own thing.
Yeah.
She turns around and she's
There's nobody there.
Yeah, right.
Claire, Cassette, what about you guys?
I think Claire will probably join Bardor
I
at
was
the
thinking the
respite
same.
for lunch, at
Yeah.
least. And then she might wander off and do something until dinner time.
Yeah, the afternoon passes with no major incidents. Bardor, you better deduct a gold. Claire and Cassette, probably just a couple of silver each, realistically. Unless you do just help Bardor keep the table propped up. Your choice, I suppose.
No,
I'm not sure how much drinking you're doing. Let me have a perception check from the three of you guys in the respite. What you
Oh!
sorry, we'll call it a 7. It's fine.
I got 20.
I'm oblivious.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, even with the 7, you're not doing great. Cassette, you are just digging in. You're happy. Claire Bardor, you notice a lot of regulars that are usually in around lunchtime. You're pretty much part of the furniture at this point already. Since you've arrived, you've been there a lot. Even with your week away in Badger Down, you're still pretty consistently there when you're in town. You do notice, in addition to some of the regulars, mostly halflings, there's a it looks to be another halfling, fairly slender, sitting at a table on their own, kind of in the corner facing the doorway you guys usually come in, on that north side, and they're just sort of nursing their drink, not eating anything, and they were there before you got there. They had, about a half a pint in front of them, and by the time you're done eating, they have about half a pint in front of them. Just stands out as a little unusual.
Is this person seem like they're watching?
Hard to say, but you think maybe. Every now and then you sort of catch their eyes looking at you, but then they look away, but they manage to look away in a way that doesn't look overtly suspicious. You know how sometimes when you catch someone's eye and they're like, "Ooh, let me look over there real quick." It's not like that. It's just like they just happen to be looking at you at that moment, and then their eyes just naturally move on to something else.
How many times does that eye contact happen, though?
Over the course of the meal, let's say you're there for, I don't know, half an hour actually eating. 3 or 4 times. It's not like you're constantly catching them watching you.
Just kind of shake my head a little bit and look over to Claire and ask her, "What do you think?"
She definitely has an expression of just like a little bit of worry on her face. Like she looks like she's not enjoying her food and drink with as much gusto as she normally does. And she just kind of leans towards Bardor and tries to pitch her voice low so it just kind of rolls underneath the noise of the bar. I don't know. It just It's given me a bit of the creeps with how many people that we've been noticing are watching us. The halfling, the elves that Eska has seen. I don't know if they're connected, but it's definitely making me feel uncomfortable.
Knew I should have gone over to the bucket of blood. I just keep drinking for now.
About 15 minutes later, halfling gets up, drops silver on the table, and walks past you guys to head out.
I'll with a deep sigh. As they're walking, person walking past,
Yeah.
like past Fable. I won't. I'll just keep looking down, but I'll just say out loud, "Howdy, stranger."
They sort of stop and turn and just say, sorry, do I know you?
I don't think so. Just sometimes like to say hi to folks that not so familiar with in an establishment that we come to on occasion.
Okay. It was a bit odd. Are you looking at them yet? Are you still...
Yeah. Whenever he said hello, I'll look up.
You see sort of scruffy... It's a little hard to tell while they were sitting down, but now that they're this close, you can see sort of scruffy mop of dirty blonde hair. Small nose. And amber eyes. Little flecks of green in there, and what looks to be an attempt at a mustache that's just not really working. And they say, well, I guess, hello, Lynn. How are you?
Doing well enough. Nice meal. Little drink.
Good.
You enjoy yours?
It was fine.
Did he finish it?
Quickly peering over. Looks like it's down to about a quarter now.
Do you like yours warm?
I mean, you can't be too fussy with beer.
Fair enough.
Claire's nose wrinkles at that. She looks visibly offended.
We found Claire's breaking point.
Yeah, right.
Warm beer.
Who are you and what do you want?
She pulls out a hammer, slams it down on the table.
So, I guess I'll be going then. Nice to meet you all. And just sort of vaguely looks at Cosette, who may not have actually realized this is going on yet.
Apparently didn't even notice. It's just now catching on to that there's a conversation. The meal was very good.
Glad you enjoyed it too. Good day to you. And just sort of gives a little, not even a quarter of a bow, and just turns and heads out the door.
Okay, let him go. And I'll say declare more than Cosette, really. It's like I don't really know if he was watching us or not, but if he was, just let him know that we know that he's watching, or that we're watching. I don't know. Whatever. I just wanted to drink.
As long as they know that we know that they know.
Well, yeah, just leave me alone. That's all I want. Jeez.
Alrighty. So Varys, you heading anywhere in particular? You got a couple of hours to play with here.
He is walking to contemplate things. He goes on a walk kind of throughout the streets of the known territory, and then at a point, probably about an hour into his walk, if nothing exciting happens, he heads on over to the Shrine of Morden again, and would head inside and seek to head down into the cellar again, kind of his sort of closest thing to home right now that that he knows, with Kelly being a dustling of his order and such.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that, no problem. Kelly just, is happy to see you again, and lets you know that the downstairs is empty and available.
As Savaris he would nod to Kelly, and like as he's heading down, he stops and just turns his head and asks,
There hasn't been any word from the Order, has there?
No, unfortunately not.
Just curious.
and he heads further downstairs. He marches over to the table, or I guess the yeah, it would be the large table, and he's kind of standing in the room and remembering. But yeah, he's standing in the room, kind of imagining and remembering the whole scenario with Greethin and the others, and he takes his sword out and puts it on the big table again, and gets into a kneeling position and kind of goes into a bit of a meditation, just to center himself a little bit while he's thinking in the silence of this somewhat makeshift kind of shrine. And he just spends a good little amount of time, up to maybe an hour and a half or so, down there. And he's going over in his mind kind of like the past couple weeks, and thinking about the encounters through the cave, and remembering things back on Cosette and Eska and Claire, and trying to take in and sort stuff. And even thinks back to just a couple hours ago, his little street altercation with Claire, and he kind of stews on that a little bit. And when he's at a good point, he would stand up and stare down at his sword one time and kind of float his hand over it again, much like the first time that he did when it was gifted to him, and utter or kind of mumbles out, just softly,
When I need you again.
and he makes his way back upstairs and heads on out towards. He'll head outside to finish out the light of day, outside of the gates, and just spend time outside of the gates until it gets dark, and then he'll head back to the respite.
Okay. As you are heading out of the shrine, Kaylee stops you and says, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. This came for you." And he holds out a little scroll.
His eyes narrow, and he walks over to Kelly and takes the scroll.
Is this from the Order or from the Volrath?
No, it was from the Fulworth.
Ah,
Runner came by this morning and dropped it off, and just hadn't seen you till now. Eska, while he's reading that, what are you up to? Just sitting in a tree, basically.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm just going up, one of the ones on the outskirts, so I can kind of get a bit of both worlds.
Mhm.
And just enjoying the breeze.
From where you're sitting, can you see the gate, your usual south gate?
Yeah, I think I think I'd probably stay in view of it. Not get too deep.
It's nice out there, peaceful. You can just about hear some sort of muted activity coming from beyond the walls. But the trees, there's enough of a breeze. It's chilly, but not unpleasantly so. And the breeze in the trees is helping mute out the noise. A little time passes, and eventually you see Zavaris emerge from inside the 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 gate and head out, and sort of just watching as the sun goes down.
How far away is he?
Probably more for you to determine, really. How far away did you go from the?
I mean, I can't remember sort of distances, but I would I would be right on the edge. So I would have pretty much just gone, unless it's just sort of 20 feet away, in which case I would probably get some distance. But if the forest kind of is got a reasonable amount of distance, I'd have stayed within reasonable closeness.
Yeah, I mean it's probably there's a big enough gap to where you can't just sort of jump out of the trees onto the walls. But yeah, you could probably be as close as 50 feet.
I will shoot him a message in his mind, and I'll just say, "Hello, Silverius."
Is this-
Eska?
Oh, what kind of effects can I do?
His-
Good.
His eyes are looking around a little bit.
Make a perception check.
I did real good on this earlier.
I guess Eska.
I'm gonna get knee damage again. That's an 8.
I don't know that you were necessarily intentionally hiding.
No, I was just up. If he doesn't spot me at first,
I don't think he does with an 8.
It's not a very good look around. He just kind of his eye shoots one way once, and that's it.
I will repeat the sound of the owl that hooted at us earlier.
From yourself?
From myself, yes.
Okay.
I do like the idea of drawing him into the forest to his doom, but no, I will do it from myself.
That's enough for you to be able to locate her sitting in a tree.
And I will I'll motion him over,
He walks over that way.
and then I'll shimmy down the tree. I was going to say I'll just drop out of the tree, but I sense there'll be some kind of check to do that, so I will just climb gently down the tree.
Don't make you do a check for literally everything. Just like 90% of everything.
And
Now
I'll
roll.
Yeah, now roll.
yeah.
On that note.
And I'll say, Silverius, I know you don't like to leave a day without training. You feel like it's a waste. And I feel like I've been lax on my hand-to-hand skills recently. Do you want to do a little non-bladed sparring?
his eyebrow kind of raises, and he kind of cracks a little bit of a smile, and
I was starting to get a bit bored. And I must say, you have shown an impressive amount of evasiveness. One so seemingly unprotected. Quite surprised.
That's actually what I was going to suggest. I was going to, for me, it's more helpful to practice my evasion on the whole. So I was going to take a defensive roll and just have you come at me. Perhaps we could fashion some, cut down a couple of branches to use as to spar with, and have at it.
Now, how often would I get the opportunity to smack you?
You'll have every opportunity to smack me if you can catch me.
I am willing to accept this challenge.
and his smile grows a little bit.
Alright, choose your weapon, and she just kind of motions to the sort of branches lying around. She's gonna try and find a pretty straight branch, about 6 foot long, and she's just gonna effectively make a sort of bow staff type situation.
Okay.
Just kind of whittle off the branches, so it's just a straight staff.
Yeah, easy enough.
So Varus is going to find a branch that looks to be about the size of a longsword, and then find one that looks to be a little bit bigger, one that more resembles the weight of a longsword.
Okay.
For familiarity.
You are thus both armed.
And he does kind of a little wooden flourish.
Yeah, she kind of like tests the branch, and she sort of does a few of the sort of spinning side to side between her hands and whatnot, and just to get a feel for the weight.
Let me get a performance check from both of you, please.
Ooh. Oh man, does it have to be charisma?
You know what? That's fair. You can just do a athletics check.
Oh boy.
What is going on?
It's the dark mode, man.
Wow.
So that's a natural 20 for a 24 for me.
That's
Oh.
a non-natural 24, 24.
Oh, we look amazing. This is like
Wow.
some Star Wars lightsaber stuff.
I was gonna
Yep.
say there's a lens flare,
Yeah.
like
That's
perfect
beautiful.
golden hour,
Somebody-
sunset,
Mm.
like it's beautiful.
Somebody cue up Duel of Fates, please.
It's like yeah. I mean, it's a thing to behold. The pair of you both sort of trying to outflex the other one, and you realize that you just both look good.
Eska gives an appreciative nod for Silverius' skill with considering he's just using bits of wood he's picked up off the ground.
So Varus gives Eska a exact same nod, considering it's a stick she picked up off the ground.
And she says, I'm going to make this, I want to, full disclosure, I'm going to make it as hard as I can. I'm going to speed myself up a little bit to up the ante.
Oh,
Just to really give you some challenge. I know you can hit, I've seen you catch fast things before. I want to make this hard. And she'll circle a little bit, and she'll just say, whenever you're ready, And when he looks like he might be ready, she will cast haste on herself.
Alrighty. Duly noted. If you're just letting him strike, then I guess you can just have at it, Silverius.
She will also take the dodge action. So she's just kind of like bouncing from foot to foot, still spinning the staff, kind of keeping it, keeping it moving as much as she can, just watching him, like mirroring his, but not like backing off to the point where he has to chase her. Just kind of making it awkward.
I guess treat as longsword for the purposes of attacks.
Okay. Silvarius kneels down to the ground, picks up some dirt, and after Eska, does she openly just cast haste, or is she waiting for him to go?
She's gonna wait till he. I mean, she's kind of said, effectively, come at me, and once he looks like he's ready and good to go, then she'll cast it. She doesn't want to waste it.
Yeah, she only gets a minute. All right, so Silvarius, when she says that, he kneels down, he picks up some dirt, and he holds the dirt kind of up above his head in front of him, and starts to let it. He kind of crumbles it through his through his fingers, and using his other hand, he kind of does a couple of gestures, and as the dirt's falling, it starts to glow and kind of like gravitate towards his boots, and he casts Long Strider on himself, and the little dust kind of like gravitates and grabs onto his boots for this real subtle soft glow on the bottom of them. And he says,
I knew you were going to be hard to catch.
and he sprints towards Eska and takes a leaping thrust with his wooden longsword. Ooh, and a second roll. Because you are dodging, correct?
Yeah.
That would be plus 6. So a 16.
16 will miss. So she'll just like curve. She's sort of like, surprised a little by the speed, but she just curves her body away and lets the sword sort of pass by her midsection. And I've suddenly remembered that with haste, I actually technically get another action. So she might just take a quick sort of like, not a hard swing, but she's just gonna see if she can tap Silverius. Just to not in a, it's not even in kind of like a trying to show him up way, just to kind of keep him, to sort of draw his focus a little bit. I don't know if I'll actually hit, but 26. Boy, my rolls are ridiculous today.
Your worst roll is an 18.
So she'll just sort of tap him on the side, but it's literally just a tap to show that she's like present and and then she'll pop back, retaking dodge.
When she pops back, he kind of spins and does this backhanded swing. I guess, a backhanded spinning swing towards her midsection.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oof.
For 15.
Sad times.
So she just kind of like does a swirling duck out of the way, and then she will
Turn into a duck?
Was that was that Druidcraft?
yeah. And then she will, because she can, she'll take the disengage action and just kind of spin around the circle again and let him re-engage.
And he says,
It feels like I have seen this once before.
And he sprints towards Eska and goes in for a grapple.
Uh-oh. That's going to be contested, right?
Yeah.
Right, she'll be doing acrobatics or athletics, whichever you prefer.
11.
Oh, you got me.
Oh,
That's what he says.
I got you.
So yeah, she tries to kind of hold out the staff in a way to sort of block what she assumes is going to be a strike, and then when she's just not prepared for the grab. Okay. So you currently have me grappled. How
Yes.
how do you have me grappled? What was your plan?
So,
Did you just
so
basically
Varus
have
was,
your arms around me?
yeah, it's kind of like this really like big warm hug. No threatening nature. You know, a classic Sylvaris hug. No, he
Classic.
he actually went in like he was strike, and seeing where Eska was kind of really defending herself, he actually, as he's like swinging down, he kind of like loosely drops his stick as he's swinging and lunges forward and kind of grabs her by both of her arms, just like just gripping her arms basically. We'll say her forearms.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try a couple of things. Eska, without any kind of just sort of like in her mind, she suddenly is trying to find a way out, and she is just going to use her mind to try and push Silverius away.
Ooh.
So she is going to subtly cast Vortex Warp on Silverius, which is a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy,
You can choose to fail if you so wish.
that would not be Sylvaris.
I know. Just giving you the option.
22.
Ooh. Big rolls.
I actually had a feeling it wouldn't work. He's too blocky. So like when that doesn't work, her eyes flick back open, and she's going to attempt to with her other her other action can only be like a, hang on, I just put it up here, an attack, right, or a dash, disengage, or hide. I can't disengage if I'm grappled.
Not so much. You could attempt to shrug off the... I'd let you try and shrug out of the grapple.
Haste should help with some of this, right? As far as action economy.
Okay, I'll try and do that's basically what I'm going to try and do as my second thing, is just try and wiggle out.
So it would be the same contested acrobatics versus athletics, although no disadvantage this time for Silvarius.
22. Oh, did you get a 24?
24.
Yeah, you try to shrug, but...
Yeah,
He's
she
got
does
you
that
good.
thing. She does that classic thing that happens in every single fight ever, where she attempts to run up a tree and flip over him. But somehow, even though she does flip over him, I guess he still holds on to her wrists.
Take 2 points of damage. 1 for each of the burns on your wrist as you try to escape, and he just has you gripped really tight.
Well, that's going to be a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, I'm good. Wallace, your turn again.
Now that he's had Eska kind of like gripped, can I release Eska and kind of like sort of like jolt her hands upwards to get her off the ground a little bit, and then try to grab the stick off the ground and pop her in the stomach as she's landing?
Yeah.
Okay, so Varys, yeah, he like jukes her hands up to kind of like push her off the ground, and he reaches down and grabs the sword, and he's bringing it as an upward swing as she's landing. 10 to hit.
Yeah, you go to swing, but and you make contact, but you just you realize as you're trying to swing, you just can't get the momentum you're looking for, and so you just sort of pat her in the stomach, dealing 0 damage. Eska, you're now free. You sort of land back down on your feet. You've been released.
As that kind of like just touches but doesn't do any damage, she says, "That's close, Silverius. but you got to land a good hit. And she will attempt to sort of poke him in the chest, and then she'll go back into the dodge stance. Oh, back to the good rolls. 26.
Definitively.
So yeah, she just kind of like bounces it off his chest, and then pulls it back and goes back into defensive stance.
He gets, after the pop in the chest, he just kind of looks where she popped him. He's got like both of his hands kind of like, I don't know how to describe. His hands are kind of like frustratedly like at his sides, like, and he his fists kind of clench, and then he loosens up a little bit.
I have tricks as well.
And then Kedox comes out of nowhere and starts fluttering right in Eska's face, using the aid action. And Savaris is going to try to use that distracted moment to two-hand strike Eska.
Eska shocking grasps.
Shocking.
No, she doesn't.
Not yet, she doesn't.
I just like the
Go
idea
ahead.
of accidentally killing Kedox out of surprise.
Wow.
I get one more roll. No,
Wait.
it was a flat roll.
Yeah, it was flat because of the dodge.
9.
So Eska reaches up and
Shocking grasp.
pats Kedox on the head and then dodges back.
Good boy.
You know what? She'll cast Gust at Kedox. Try and push him away.
Oh, go figure. Really? Really?
The old standby.
Insult. Yeah, insult.
So that's going to be spell save 15 on a strength.
I can't imagine his strength so great.
Oh,
16.
he made it there. She looks impressed. And just goes back into the dodge action.
Yeah, Kedox just firmly flaps in the air.
In defiance.
Absolutely.
At least one of you guys can save against Gust.
It's true.
That's not what she says.
Are you sure?
She.
But yeah, it's back to you. I'm just back in the dodge.
Tavares is getting frustrated with a smile, and he picks up a second stick and goes in, kind of doing a sort of the two stick flourish. So Kedox, after taking the gust, kind of like flaps in the air, but flies over and lands on a tree branch. And Savaris picks up a second stick and starts kind of a double stick. I don't know what's called. There's a flourish where they're kind of like crisscrossing in front of him like crazy.
I think it's called the double stick flourish.
It's from this point on.
The flip flop.
The flip flop double stick flourish.
Yeah. Yeah, we just checked. We got the researchers on that one.
Okay, good.
We want to make sure we're saying things the right way, obviously. It's very important. Yep. Authenticity.
And he takes a couple of attacks, one with his main hand and one with his offhand. So the main hand, 18 to hit.
That's very close. But it doesn't quite hit with my improved
offhand.
AC.
And the offhand also 18.
So yeah, she just kind of does the like she sort of backs away from one way and then she backs away from one the other way, kind of using the quarterstaff to sort of like just sort of glance them off. And then twirls it in her hand and disengages and spins around to sort of re-keep the circle. And she says, "Boy, I felt those ones." And she's not saying any of this really tauntingly. She's trying to be encouraging. I'm sorry, I realize this is actually really, really hard.
Eska, yeah, and Savaris knows that. He's seen Eska in action before. And it was
Impressive. Most impressive.
can I try something, Phil?
Probably.
Can I don't know if this works. Yeah, I want to try to get creative. Can I thunderclap the ground? Kind of like almost like where Savaris will, as he's like charging forward with the sword behind him, kind of lower his hand and try to thunderclap the ground in front of Eska, and then action surge to attack. In essence, I want to, and if doing this with a cantrip or is too much, like I want to try to knock her off her footing a little bit.
Do I got to do a save of some kind?
Yes.
I would say.
Con save.
Oh, that's not so good. 10.
Okay. So Varys starts running towards you. And you still have the two swords right now, right?
He'll drop the offhand.
Okay.
With this kind of combo in mind.
So you see him drop the one, and then just as he's getting up close to you, there is a cacophony of noise emanating, you think, from underneath you, and you are rocked and unbalanced. Roll the damage for your cantrip, but since it's sort of targeting her feet, essentially, we'll just do half damage. Even though it was a failed save.
4?
4 damage.
So yes, now you are, Eska, you are unsteady on your feet, which will say negates the effect of the dodge, so it will be a straight attack.
Mm-hmm.
Silveris rushes in.
21.
21 will hit.
Yeah! Finally! It took 10 minutes.
So she
So what
sort
does
of,
this swing look like?
I guess she'll stumble back a little bit and kind of drop as she's trying to bring up the staff to block. It'll just kind of like the shock is enough to kind of like make her drop it on beside her.
And he's just going to go with a good just horizontal slash towards the midsection. Tried and true.
And it deals 7 bludgeoning damage. You feel that impact hard on the ribs.
And Eska will fall to the floor on her back and put her hand to her stomach, and she will just druidcraft out a small vine of red flowers that looks like it sort of petals from that area and say, "You got me."
Make a concentration check.
Oh, that's right.
I guess technically 2.
13.
Good.
And natural 20. 25.
Yes. That's crazy.
Is that like 4 tonight?
Yeah, I think
Wild. I'm glad I'm not fighting you.
Yeah, you're wasting these.
It's a good thing that you use these in a sparring match.
Yeah, I know. Just
Teaching
just to
Silveris a
spite
lesson?
Silveris. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally worth it.
Spite.
so. Hey, I'll take them when they come. Which says that last one was a good hit, Silverius.
But it took a bit.
Well, I was being as difficult to hit as I could, so I mean, that's kind of how I was trained in physical combat. I was really trained to deal damage from afar, and if anything got in close, just to avoid it until you could disengage.
He says,
I thought you just trained in being difficult.
That's true.
One of the guards from the gatehouse kind of wanders over a little closer and just says, What are you lot playing at? What was that racket?
Just sparring outside the city walls, so as not to offend anybody inside the city walls, sir.
Fine, just...
And she kind of bends down, touches her knees, and just kind of breathes deeply for a moment, and is just like, "Oh boy, hang on." And then 6 seconds later, she's like, "Okay, I'm good." Sorry, that was it. It really hits you when that wears off. Well, you know, Silverius.
Do Eska and Silverius, do you just head back into town? Is that the point you're at?
Almost. Beforehand, as when the guard kind of walks off, Savarius walks up to Eska and he puts his hand or one hand on her shoulder and pulls out a sharp object from underneath.
Whoa, hey, whoa, hey.
And says to her,
In the beginning, I thought very little of you. I still think little of you, but less.
and he flips the blade around, and it's the bronze blade, the finely crafted bronze blade, bone-handled skinning knife that he got from Simlin's, and he hands it to, or he stretches it out with his other hand for her to take.
But I do respect you more. You've earned this in many ways.
She takes it and she just she sort of holds it up and examines it, and she just touches the point of it to his shoulder and kind of like traces the line of his neck slightly and says, "Oh, this should be good for skinning tough-hided creatures. Thank you, Silverius." And then pockets it. That was good. It's you know, you need to keep sharp, you know.
And you can't get much sharper than dwarven crafted. Be careful with that.
I'll save it for special occasions.
He side-eyes her.
Well, should we
He
go make
outstretches
out?
his hand like,
Should we go
you
make out
first.
behind that tree before we head back into town now, or?
I mean, if we have a moment.
So you can add the dwarven skinning knife to your sheet.
Nice.
And
1d6
the,
slashing.
And the Eska and Silvarius ship sails smoothly off into the distance.
I'm getting ready to say.
Ascarius.
Unexpected.
I was waiting
Savarius
for
looks deep
once-
into Eska's dragony eyes.
I was waiting when he had my wrists held for him to kind of sweep my feet and then sort of pounce on me, and I was like,
Go in
This-
for
this
the
is
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
Dip
this
you real
whole
low,
thing-
bring you back.
This whole thing reeks of enemies to lovers romance.
Guys, we've seen this before.
Oh, just all right, listeners. There's a big twist at the end. Stay with us and find out.
Our
Episode.
door enters.
Nope.
wearing his chipmunk bikini.
nope,
Oh, I
nope,
didn't know
I'll
you
see you
guys
guys
were in
later.
here.
I'm still shipping Silvarius and Bardur myself. Bardurius.
I'm shipping Bardor and the alcohol.
Buttery lizard.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh.
That's realistic.
So anyway,
Yeah.
you guys head back to the Traveler's Respite. Meet up. Presumably eat dinner? Question mark.
Silvarius is hungry now.
Eska
He is
looks
hungry
at
after
people
making out
eating
in the
dinner. Oh, real quick, logistical question. What was the deal with the money? Did I owe? I've got 20 gold pieces now. I think from when we did stuff. I think the knife was 10 gold pieces. Do I? What did we decide with that? Did I give you money to go in there, or did I say get?
I think you said just to get one.
Okay, in that case,
And-
she will ask how much it was.
Savaris, he just looks away.
Oh. She will say, oh. Okay, that's it.
So, you have dinner? Anything to take care of before morning?
One more thing from Sylvaris while they're is Claire down there also? Are they like eating together? Is everybody at the table?
I haven't left.
I would assume that Claire left at some point, but then came back for more food.
Is and Bardur, is there has the waiter been picking up all your cups, or do you keep them as a body count?
I mean, I don't know what they do.
It's the respite. I imagine they're pretty dutiful in their
Yeah, they probably don't.
table maintenance.
I mean, unless he actively tried to keep them there, I think they would take them away.
Okay. I have no idea how much he's drank.
Me either.
Sylvarius, when Claire's at the table, Sylvarius is kind of eating, and he just kind of says out of nowhere, not even looking at Claire, he just loud enough for her to hear.
I will consider the group funds.
And he sort of just takes a deep breath, like that was really difficult. And he says,
I may have overstepped.
Okay, that was the end, right?
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Over.
Okay. We also need a signal for Sylvaris when he's done with his sentences. I'm
so
never sure. Never sure.
No, that's his cadence. That's what he does.
Yeah.
It's
It's
we expect this from him.
It's funny because I don't even never know when I'm really done.
Claire looks actually a little surprised at first. Yeah, she just kind of tilts her head and that's very kind of you to say, Sylvarius, and I will say I'm sorry for yelling at you earlier. My temper got the better of me.
And he's kind of got his hands in his food. And he takes one hand and kind of just gives her a little. It's okay, a real subtle wave, like he's really bad at this. And takes a big bite out of his food. Big old meaty drumstick of something.
Somehow he always manages to find the big old meaty drumsticks. Wherever he goes.
I'll let everybody know as gathered about that halfling that may or may not have been watching us.
So first the elf, now a halfling. Am I missing any others?
The Goliath, wasn't it? Well, that wasn't. That was just kind of an awkward sighting. So while not being somebody that was following us, still an interesting character of note.
Yeah, you haven't seen many Goliaths down here. So, definitely stood out.
Another thing.
And Sylvarius pulls out a piece of parchment that he had got earlier to kind of update everybody else.
A report from the Forest. We have more to know about. Duarte.
And after he says that, he actually looks around the room. Are we fairly isolated, or is the tavern kind of bustling at this time?
It's after dinner, so most of the people who came for food have left at this stage, but there's definitely still a few stragglers, a couple of people drinking. There's no one too close to your table right now.
He just quiets his tone down a little bit. So far, he'll just hand the report around actually to everybody so they can get it all in all detail. And we're in Marpaneth currently at the end of it, right?
Yes, it is the 28th, nearly the 29th.
And he kind of, so far, kind of openly asks,
When was it we first arrived here?
It would have been early Marpaneth.
His last appearance was probably with us
That's
around the
curious.
time.
We may not even find him. Not saying that there will not be clues or other trails to follow.
For the listeners at home who can't read this, a brief rundown. The document says, for the attention of Silverius Karutarok, care of the Shrine of Moradin, South Delsmer, additional information on the person known as Duarte as follows. The acclaimed wizard Duarte rose to prominence in the Delsmer area after the Spell Plague, which would have been not many years ago, actually. I can't remember the exact date of the Spell Plague now. But I don't think we're too far removed from it in the current setting. He assisted with the reconstruction of the area and the taming of the Gulf of Lurien. Duarte is not often to be found in public, having established a number of residences in towns along the Gulf Coast, and most predominantly in Drakesburg, where he serves on the advisory committee to the Potentate, along with others. The advisory committee itself is mostly secretive, and few members are publicly known to serve with their actual... And few members are publicly known to serve with their actual number also unclear. There we go. I had to parse that correctly. Duarte is known for his practice of protective magics, and in years past was part of an adventuring party who helped defeat a tyrant dragon and his cult followers. The Amber Dragon, known locally as the Scorpion, left behind a swath of decay and corruption which took years to recede. It is believed that all of the followers of the Scorpion were slain or captured during the final battle in the foothills of the Toad Squat Mountains. And then, as referenced, the last public appearance of Duarte was in early Marpaneth.
Silvarius looks to Bardur and says,
You are the most local of us. Is any of this in your recollection?
Give it to me, Phil.
Literally the last person you want to ask.
I know.
I
Therefore, the first
actually
person-
will give this to you. As a local, you certainly would have heard of the Scorpion. That was a very dark time for the area with the impact of this dragon and its cult following. You would not necessarily have known who was involved in that, defeating the dragon. But yes, anyone local would have heard of the Scorpion and the ultimate defeat of the Scorpion.
Does that bring any, potential links from that dream I had in the Cobalt Cave?
I'm going to say maybe.
Bardo, that's useful information, Bardo, that you've heard of that, but is there any, just really stretch your mind, is there anything else you can remember about that time?
He just really wants me to make you roll a history check.
Just anything, Bardo, anything.
Shall I roll one, just for the sake of it?
Sure, why not?
That nugget's got to be in there somewhere.
Yes.
There we go.
It's a 1.
Never fails.
They should not be asking you right now. You're honestly quite proud of yourself for remembering the scorpion.
Mhm.
Really, you probably should have been at disadvantage there, but it really doesn't matter.
But I mean, I feel like I should probably always roll a disadvantage with history.
It's its own disadvantage as far as
It
I'm
is.
concerned.
It is. I say I can fly. I pilot.
One day, Phil's gonna be like, "Give me a history saving throw."
Yeah, right. Like, oh no.
This has consequence.
Oh.
And no,
gosh.
you don't have proficiency in history saving throws. You have negative proficiency.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we've established then. You know of the dragon, but that's about it from that time period. At least in your current state, that's it.
Just so you know, I could have potentially had more because Phil was going to give it to us, but now we're never going to know. So thanks, guys.
Well,
Worth it.
tune in on the next episode to figure out what the information was, and if it is connected, the Dragon Dream.
That's why I don't. That's why it's like maybe.
It kind of fits in perfectly.
That's what I'm calling Silverius now. The Dragon
Maybe.
Dream.
Oh God.
It's my
Do I
wrestler
need to
name.
insert? Do I need to insert that picture that I found again of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shirtless dragonborn? Like,
Oh, please.
There's no need to insert it because it's all in my head.
Mhm.
So, now that Bardor has remembered the dragon info, what next?
I was thinking, I don't know, it's still early in the day. You guys want to do any sparring or anything?
Dora stands up ready to go.
I was gonna
He's
say
still got this big tree, sword-sized tree stick.
Also, yeah, why are you guys carrying sticks?
I was gonna comment real quick. He remembered the dragon, but what about the locations mentioned, like Toad Squat Mountains or anything like that? Are those like local?
Those are local.
Okay.
You have actually heard them mentioned once before.
Really?
Many moons ago, when you were first learning about Rolivar's Red Fangs. You heard the tale of how they went and grabbed a large quantity of goblins. Those were taken from the Toadsquat Mountains.
Oh.
They are around the Gulf. So Delsmer's sort of like on the northwest portion. You have to go sort of like east to where it starts, where the Gulf starts to turn south again. It's a decent trek. From here, it could be. I'd need to confirm, but it could easily be weeks, or at least a week, to get to the Toad Squats.
And I'm guessing that gulf is that the same gulf as the Gulf of Lurien
Yes,
in the note. Okay.
And that was that the gulf that was created in the spell plague?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yes. If you're not actually going out sparring, I would reckon you guys could rest for the night.
Oh.
Oh.
Did Silvarius want Claire to message Bill?
Well remembered.
I nearly forgot. Yeah, I.
So we don't lose track of yet another orphan.
It's fine.
More of a problem. We adopt them and then we lose them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's just gonna cast a message to Bill. and just ask, Vil, it's Claire. Just checking in, making sure you're settling in all right at the academy. Do you need help?
This is strange. I'm okay, settled in learning. That's it.
She'll relay his message to the group, and I think he's settling in fine. Unless we want to check on him tomorrow, I think we could put off visiting him until we come back.
So far, a better outcome than risking. As far as when we return, well, we'll have to see day by day. Before we go, I have the ability to summon a particular weapon. You have seen me do this with the breath of Bahamut, and I have the capacity for one more.
And he kind of looks at everybody.
Should we find ourselves in a unfavorable situation, I could have one of your weapons appear as needed. Consider it before we depart.
And that's all I have. So.
Alrighty. So, assuming there's nothing else, you can head up. Cosette, you, as you're heading up, Hillador comes over and says, I took the liberty of just starting a tab. The dwarf left some money earlier, but he's gone over that now, and I figured with you being here, we're probably all right. You can just settle up anytime. I know you're good for it. Just, saves having to keep fidgeting in your coin purse.
Yeah, that sounds good. Where are we at now?
Oh, it's with the rooms. As you're looking at, it's only 3 gold right now. He didn't go too far over is what he left earlier somehow. But just make sure someone checks on him throughout the night, just to be safe. Okay. I don't need the Nagra coming in, trampling through everything, investigating stuff.
Yeah, we'll do.
Bad for business, that.
He's just asleep at the table now.
Oh, and don't leave him there. We want to clean up in a bit.
Oh, I thought that's what you were charging me the 3 gold for. Okay. All right, we'll take him.
And she gives an appreciative nod and toddles back over to the bar. So, once you... And, I mean, it's not too hard for you to help him up the stairs. And everyone's sort of deposited into their appropriate rooms, willingly or otherwise. Eska, are you joining the room, or are you going to nip up a tree?
I think I'll go back to my tree.
Yep.
One night was enough.
Yeah,
Gotta decompress a little. All those
exactly.
rooms.
Too much socialization.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you sleep, you wake up. Some of you with headaches, some of you without. And head downstairs. For breakfast. and then preparing to head out to meet up with Bjorn at the site of the former Pickled Quipper.
I want to say it now before I forget. At some point, I will make sure or talk to the party or go myself or whatever to take care of Grail. Because I don't want to it was like, yeah, we'll keep him here for 2 days, and the next thing you know, it's like months have passed. So,
Trying to remember
setting-
what arrangement you came with.
setting up an agreement of some sort. I think it was only for a couple days.
Then yes, that would be good. So yeah, we will pick up in the next session with you getting ready, getting all your affairs in order to go meet Bjorn, swing by the Dried Bunch, and then head down ultimately towards the docks to find the ship that is due to take you out to Drakesburg.
Huzzah.
Dun,
Who's
dun,
that?
dun.
Well, thank you for watching / listening, everybody. We'll pick up next time as we finally return to the site of the Pickled Quipper and then head towards the famous Drakesburg. We'll see you next time for more Fables from the Pickled Quipper. Goodbye.